an album that eclipses everything they've ever done, it's tempting to see them as an overnight success, which is just what happened with the band and the record we're about to hear. In this case, though, that success had been 10 years coming, and the album was their 6th. The year is 1987, and our classic album is Kick by INXS. Looking back with me for the next hour are Andrew Farriss and Michael Hutchence.
I think the band was in a really good mood on this album. We were feeling like This Night Thieves seemed pretty strong. We had a direction to go to. We're going to use the same producer again, which we've never done before. So everybody felt pretty comfortable, you know. And, well, while it lasted. And once you get in there, madness starts. But, you know, we had a lot of good times making this album.
So how did Kick take shape?
I think after This Night Thieves, I think we were saying, Andrew and I wanted to just see what we could do as being the only writers, and everybody else just lay off. You know, they can write songs and stuff, but we're going to try and form something much more clearly, you know. And,
that's right.
And it really worked, you know, because for once, for myself, I got to work with Andrew writing a song. I wrote Guns in the Sky, and we worked together on just sort of wide-ranging stuff, from Mediate to Guns in the Sky, quite wide and really different ideas, you know.
Well, it's interesting you should just say that, because I'm thinking with Guns in the Sky and Mediate, I mean, Guns in the Sky is Michael's credit, you know, because he thought of the idea musically and lyrics, and the same thing I thought of the idea for Mediate musically and lyrics, but the thing is, Michael's expertise is really good at putting phonetics, I think that means lyrics and words and things, to musical timing and melodies and things, even if they're, you know, connecting them together. And I think my forte a lot of the time is the other way around. It's connecting feels and moods of music and
to lyrics,
to things, yeah. To that sort of thing, like to melodical ideas or whatever. So that worked out well. Also, I think it was very nice to the other guys in the band to let us write all songs as well, you know. You know, I've got to say that too.
We had about 13 or 14 songs, didn't we? And we rehearsed them for a while, and we recorded them. And this is what we've done on X as well. It seemed to work where we stopped. After about a month or so of putting down as many songs as possible, and then we go away and listen to it. And that's when Andrew came up to Hong Kong, and we worked on Need You Tonight, and Mediate, and what else? Guns in the Sky.
Guns in the Sky. And was there something else?
A couple of weeks.
That's
about a week or something.
Yeah, actually we also did, before that, we did some demos, that's right, in Chicago. We did,
oh yeah,
we did
that's
Mystify and...
Okay, it's all coming back now. We were rehearsing in the Opera House downstairs in one of the big chambers. It's great. We meet all kinds of people there, you know, ballet dance. It's not very rock and roll, it's very... Well, high art, you know.
That's right.
And then there's us.
The ridiculous part was we rehearsed probably for, you know, at least 7 years in the grottiest, most revolting rehearsal studios you could ever find in the world anywhere. And eventually we said, look, there's got to be something better than this. Please, please, you know, because you try rehearsing in your house and the police come around, you know. So we thought, well, we can't do that either. So we got to rehearse. What about that big white building in the middle of Sydney Harbour? And it actually turned out to be, I think it was cheaper than half the rehearsal studios.
Yeah, because it's government funded, you know, so it's great. So we got down there and set up, and that's a really hard part in a way, because that's where we really have to work out a lot of stuff, you know, a lot of different ideas, you know, where we want the album to go, if we know, you know, and that's where a lot of hard work goes down, I think. And it's also, you know, 9 hours a day of bash, crash, boom, and arguments and, you know, stuff. It's pretty tiring. It's good though. I mean, in fact, it's where the mistakes happen that turn into songs. And you get ideas out of that, which are good, because you never really know. You can rehearse something, but once again, to start recording, it changes a bit. I mean, that's one of the hardest songs we've ever recorded. Not to record, but it's very, very hard, you know. It's big guitars and stuff, sort of thing I like, and we just, you know, pull little stops on it basically when we recorded it. And I mean, a song is about songs at the time when there was this talk of spending billions of dollars to put these lasers up in the sky, and I just thought it was, thank God they haven't persisted in it. seemed like just more escalation. We'd have to live around missiles and laser beams pointed at us. I thought it was ridiculous. And also when we were doing the track listings, which is a hard part of, it's really the ebb and flow of an album. And at about sort of 6 in the morning, we decided, let's put Guns in the Sky first on the album. We hadn't really told anybody yet, I don't think. Because it just seemed like, something real sort of, just a lot of attitude to start the album with, which seemed good.
Seems like to me when you sit up for that long doing something like that, you lose all objectivity. So you end up putting anything first, really.
New Sensation. Did we record that first, or did we do that in Hong Kong? I think we did that first.
Yeah, that was the first group of songs we did. But we didn't do the demo for that in Chicago. We did that when the group rehearsed the stuff before we went in the studio. Yeah.
Good rhythm section on that track.
Yeah, and it was a great bit of sampled banjo, which I played on.
That's right, banjo. What can we put on this? Banjo. Yeah. Perfect. Not exactly a new sensation, sort of an old instrument.
The core of the next track, Devil Inside, is a trademark guitar riff.
Down, 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 down. Yeah, that's very us, we always into our $1 million riffs, as they put it. Yeah. Riffs are, they're a very Australian thing, actually. Guitar riffs.
Like AC/DC, I guess.
Yeah.
Or, there's another band, Skyhawks, who were very big in the 70s.
They wrote a song called $1 Million Riff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good song. They wrote some good stuff. Yeah, a lot of pub groups, really get into this hook. I mean, I guess it's an old-fashioned thing, or it's almost like a blues thing, that bluesy thing. But twisted around, turned inside out. Devil Inside. I think that was in the first batch of songs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What made you think of the lyrics for that song, anyway?
Devil Inside.
I always meant to ask you that.
We've been through this, Andrew.
Okay. Oh. Sorry.
No.
That's a bad memory.
I don't know. I think, let's have a look. I think I was on a, God and the devil phase. Yeah. I suppose it's to do with the chaos of everything, And we can put it into religious terms, I suppose. The devil is sort of chaotic. And sort of every time you think something's right, it sort of comes in and changes everything.
The key to Kick's success was Need You Tonight, one of those tracks that jumps right out of the radio at you.
Yeah, a lot of people really liked that. I mean, when we were recording it, we went, that was good, that's a good sort of groove feel, And we recorded and we finished it, and we kept on coming in and playing it to our friends. We always get our friends in to have a listen and tell us what they think and stuff. Just dance around the studio and stuff. And that's the one we always kept on playing and playing. Never ever really thought we'd put it out as a single. It was just like this groove track on the album. And by the time we finished the album, we all decided, well, if that's what we like, let's just put it out. That's what we want people to hear,
Yeah, it was ridiculously casual when I think about all that.
It's like, it'll be sort of, and then it started going so well, and we, that's good.
It must be the secret to it all, I'm sure.
That was really interesting working on Need You Tonight, because Andrew came out to Hong Kong and he had this piece of music which is virtually the music that you hear on the record. And I had this sheet of lyrics that I'd done the night before he arrived. And I was sitting there, wrote out these lyrics, and they were just the way they're written on the record. And Andrew was playing these tapes and stuff he'd done, and I went, I was just in sort of a mood, like, yes, go, 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 go. And I had the music come through the headphones, had put the headphones and got a microphone, and just sort of pulled out this Need You Tonight lyrics and started singing on the track straight off. And the song finished and it stopped at the end, and it was exactly how you hear it on the record. And that was good. That was 5 minutes.
I didn't realize you wrote the lyrics the night before I got there, because that was very strange, because I actually wrote the music for that. There's a cab came to pick me up to take me to the airport, and I was writing the song, so I told the cab driver, to sit there and just, you know, please don't go because I have to go to the airport, but I have to finish writing a song. He looked at me like, you know, yeah, what a weirdo, you know. And so I went back inside, you know, writing a song, sure, mate, you know. And so I went back inside and, you know, I finished, you know, composing my big bit of music, you know, and then I jumped in the car. But the thing was, that, as Michael was saying, it was all. I think that's a lot of the success to things that people like on the radio. Is not too much preciousness about, you know, we really want you to like this, okay? It doesn't have to be like that. I think that there's some of the most interesting things, the things that are just happen like just like that. Mediate was actually a poem. I showed a lady the poem on the way back from Perth to Sydney in a jet, and she actually worked for the Paul Hamlin publishing group. It was Paul's wife. And she said, oh, this is interesting, but have you seen this? She showed me the Bible, and I said, oh, yeah, I've seen that book. It's a good book. She said, well, you know, you've got to get into this. And I said, I haven't seen that. You know, I enjoy reading that. But you like this, you know? She said, yeah. And then I showed it to Michael, and then we put some music to it, and we worked on that and Need You Tonight.
There can't have been many words left that rhyme with 8.
It was. I remember Michael or Chris Thomas or someone said, look, we need just about another 10 words. And I went, oh, okay. So I went out and I sat down and I found about another 50 or something. I never even thought there would be that many. There was. There's so many.
Our classic album is INXS's Kick, and the next track, The Loved One, is the only song on the album not written by Andrew or Michael.
Well, the Loved Ones were a band that had sort of a brief moment of fame in the 60s in Australia. A very wild bunch of guys that went from a kind of almost a jazz band into this outrageous R&B band. In fact, the singer is Jerry Humphries, is Barry Humphries' brother, funnily enough. And we've recorded the song once before for another album.
No, it was a one-off single.
It was a one-off single, that's
in
right,
between Underneath the Colours
Yeah.
and Sugar Shabbat.
And I think Chris Thomas was coming on the shows and he heard it live and he kept on saying, you know, that song was really great because we were still playing it live, and we weren't that happy with the original recording of it, so he said, well, we had to have another go at it. Well, it's a kind of funny song. It's pretty sick. I mean, they had pretty funny sense of humor, and I mean, the song isn't really, it sounds like this ballady thing, but what the lyrics are going on about is a total power trip. How this guy sort of, it's every time he says, oh baby, I love you so, she comes running back, you know. And it's and from sort of meeting those guys, they're weird. They're weird. Their music doesn't sound like what it is, you know. But they came along to one of our shows. In fact, they reformed after this album came out and did a tour of Australia. And then sort of came backstage going, thank you, you know, because I don't know what happened to them all. Jerry was a plumber in Tasmania or something, and then I heard he was a publican in London, and they'd been all over the place. And it was great. They got back together again. Australian bands didn't do covers of Australian bands, you know. It just wasn't done, you know. You do when we first did it, you know. I don't think it had ever been done before.
No, it was, you know, because it was a cultural cringe for us to, you know.
Yeah.
If people say you don't do that, you cover an American band or a British band. Pardon me, I don't know why, but you know, so we thought we'd cover an Australian group.
And hopefully they'll go on covering us one day. Wildlife is, did we do that in the first session or the second session?
Wildlife was done in the second
Yeah.
lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We did that there was another one that I penned the music for at home in Sydney, and then took it over and we worked on it together with your lyrics and the melody ideas in Hong Kong.
It's a pretty wild song. The intro is great. I love the intro. It's great live.
Talking of playing live, it's noticeable that half the tracks on Kick end rather than fade. Presumably, fades present a problem when it comes to live performance.
Don't worry. We know. Yeah, you fade and you go into rehearsals of a tour and you're sitting there going, right. But, I mean, some songs suit fades. I like fades in some ways, in some songs.
But you can't fade live. It's a problem.
Sure can't.
No. Which is another thing too. I mean, we've played so many live shows as a group. It's almost teeth gritting compared to how much recording we've done, because our recording career, to me, I still feel we've got a lot more recording to do. But if we never played again live tomorrow, I don't know that I burst into tears. Because playing live is really, in a lot of ways, for the audience, you know. I mean, a record, this thing here, is the only thing you're left with in this whole business at the end of the day.
It's fun live because Tim decides to, it's his thing, I guess. He stops it for as long as he likes. In the second stop, so we go have drinks and sit down for a while, and he decides when to come back in.
That's right.
Kirk goes wandering off into the audience and finds a spot to do a sax solo, and we never see him again.
Yeah, I think Kirk must. We have one of the most eccentric people in the music business on stage with us. I think being Kirk, I love him. He's just great. You know.
Andrew sent me the tape of Never Tear Us Apart to Hong Kong, and we were talking on the phone all the time, and I'd have like tape going on my place, and you'd be at your place talking on the tape going on your place, and we'd go, oh yeah. And originally it was kind of like a more up tempo, wasn't it? It was like a
well, that's right. Yeah, it was a bit
like a Gene Vincent thing.
That's right. It was like a Gene Vincent old-fashioned thing, and but
you know it's true.
And we thought we'd make it really what, you know.
Well, I don't know.
Stretched,
yeah, stretch it. And so we did eventually. I mean, I think we're really proud of the club and keep them tough, you know, and stop people from waving their hands in the air all the time and lighting their bics up, you know. I had these lyrics written out, and we had some time in Chicago and went in and recorded in that little studio. But we just sat down. It was very Tin Pan Alley style, wasn't it? You know, get the piano, get the pencil out. You know, it's a good way to write a song.
It is.
And we took those demos back to Australia. Actually, we didn't use the multi-track on that, though, did we? I think we redid it.
No, we redid it.
Yeah,
but the original one was pretty good.
Yeah, the original one's good. That's the root of it. It was on a piano, and that's how we basically try to keep it in the studio. But then again, there's those other guys in the band, they have to play on it, you know.
The next track is the title track, but were any other titles considered apart from Kick?
We played with a lot of stupid names as usual. It's always very Spinal Tap trying to think of an album title, you know. For some reason, I don't know. Because it's hard, you know. What do you do? You can be so pretentious, or you can, you know, let's call it mega platinum. I mean, what do you call it? I don't know. You just gotta. It's like a nickname, you know. Really, an album name. It's like a nickname for a person. You just gotta figure something that suits it. You know, just gotta suddenly go, yeah, that's right. That's good for it. Kick sort of was in the lyrics a bit, and we were thinking about calling the album Kick. Quite early on, which is surprising for us, because normally it's like the last thing we think of. Oh yeah, we've got to call it something. And so that was running through my head, and I thought, maybe it suddenly became, you know, you just start writing, and it became a song. I was writing the lyrics around what we were thinking of calling an album title, so it worked out really well. And I was like, I've never done that before, you know. It sounds very premeditated, but I mean, I thought Kick, yeah, it's a good idea for a song. And, you know, this is the great Zen song of all time, this one. Sometimes you kick, sometimes you get kicked. I mean, basically, that's what it's all about.
That song's great fun to play live, too. I always feel when we're playing that, I can't think of who I'd like to fantasize that I'm playing with, but it could be like Sam and Dave or something. The actual feel of it's like soul, but it's not
Hard soul.
Yeah, it's really hard, and there's lots of brass in it, and I don't know, I really like this song. It's great fun. We should do some more stuff like that, actually.
Okay. I really like this song because at the time we were sort of interested in the rap that was happening and just the power of it, you know, and wanted to do something like that, you know, but our version of it, which is what Calling All Nations ended up being. It has that beat and that style of a kind of version of that style of vocal, you know.
Kick closes with Tiny Daggers. Was it always going to be the last track on the album?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you want something that's maybe it's going to make people turn the record over. You know, you want something that's a little different, that's got some energy to it. You know, I think the last track's really important. Yeah, I mean, it's a straight out R&B. It's pretty straightforward, you know. So it leaves it open. So you know, the memory of the album could be anything.
We've been together. 1987 was when we recorded that. We've been together since 1977. We've been together for 10 years when we recorded this record. When we started that record. So, I mean, then when it did so well, it's sort of like, oh.
Yeah, you go, half of you goes, of course, and the other half's going, wow.
So is there anything Andrew or Michael would change about Kick, given the chance to go back in and do it again?
I'd prefer actually to go back into our first two records. I'd like to re-record everything we did again. Not change the songs, just re-record them. I'd love to do that. That to me is more important than changing anything on Kick. Because I felt when we recorded our first two records, I'm talking about a self-titled one that we had and one called Underneath the Colours. The whole thing was incredibly untogether, really. You know, we weren't being fair to ourselves, I don't think.
There's always little bits and pieces, I suppose. I always wanted to have sung everything better, always. You know, you always want to make it better. That's why you make another album.